Om. Sit alert and be aware of the surroundings. Interestingly, you can be aware of the space around, and the people in the chairs, sitting in the chairs. I'm aware of all of that. Any sounds, small, near or far, of course, the words of the speaker, I'm aware of all of that. Meaning, all of that comes to light in my awareness. This you have to own up by paying attention, by looking closely. Namely, everything comes to light. In the light of my awareness. Wherever I focus the light of awareness, that comes to light. Anything and everything in this creation comes to light in my awareness. Which means the entire world experience is in the cradle of my awareness, is upheld by my awareness. Then I am aware of the physical body. You may be surprised to see that there is body sense only when I am aware of the body. That is one thing that you may want to look closely. Namely, there is the body sense, only when I am aware of the body. In other words, body comes to light in the light of my awareness. Same is the case with the thought process. Whether mind is restless or it is moving slowly, like now, or it is entirely quiet, all these states of mind are evident only in the light of my awareness. Memory, recollection of the past, also shines in the light of awareness. Even forgetfulness, that I forgot, whatever. I'm trying but unable to recollect, whatever. Shines in the light of my awareness. I'm aware when I recollect, and also I am aware when I forget. Awareness is the very cradle of human existence, of my existence as a human being. Awareness is the inner light that illuminates all. beginning from ahankara, ego, to akasha, space. Everything, the entire spectrum is illuminated by that inner light. The light of awareness. I am the light of awareness. Sit at ease. And open the eyes slowly. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Svabodhe nānyabodhecchā bodharūpatayātmanaḥ dīpasyānyadīpecchā yathā svātmaprakāśane. Very beautiful verse once again, having some very useful messages, not one, more than one. Svabodhe nānyabodhecchā, that is one message. Bodharūpatayātmanaḥ, that is the second message. The second line is the third message. There are three messages in that verse. And every one of them is worth looking at closely. That is the thing. That is how you know. That is how you learn. Anything you learn, when you look at it closely. Did you notice sometimes the children, when you give something to them, they watch it very closely. Suppose you give a chocolate to the child, it just doesn't put it in the mouth and gulp it down. Not like that. It just looks at it carefully. But if you look at it and if you become self-conscious, then it won't look at it. But if you don't look at it, or you do not make any noise and all that, and the child is absorbed, it looks at the chocolate very closely. The wrapper, it carefully observes it, and then puts it aside, and then looks at it again closely, and then put in the mouth and look at it, taste it carefully. So that is how the child has that awareness in full force, in its full glory. Gradually we lose it because we become the creatures of the mind. Mind starts dictating life, and mind is ever busy and bewildered. That is how the mind is. Therefore, you don't have that space anymore. Whereas the child has plenty of space, inner space. Therefore, it watches very carefully. And sometimes elders admonish also, hey, what are you looking at? Complete it now quickly, like that. So that looking at closely, that is the nididhyasanam. That helps you to know, to learn, to realize. So, the first message, first I will look at the first message, and then I will go back to the earlier version, do padachedam and anvaya, then come to the second message. The first message is, you see your own experience. Suppose you study some physics, let us say, some physics. Having studied, you get your degree, let us say MS physics. Having studied some physics, that the desire to know more of it, it will be there. You may kill it eventually, but when you are a student, finished the semester, wrote the exam, got the degree, still that desire, that love to know more of the physics is with you. Whether that love is there or not, certainly the awareness that a lot more physics is there to know is certainly with you. Nobody thinks that he knew what all needs to be known in physics. Even after finishing MSc Physics 2 years, you are very sure that there is a lot more physics to be known. In Telugu, there is a poem. It came from Sanskrit only. When I did not know anything, I thought I knew everything. But when I started learning a little, then I understood how much I do not know. You followed that? Therefore, by learning physics, what you learn that you do not know a lot more of it. That is what you learn. In medicine, there is a phenomenon called specialization. They specialize. First they start with MBBS, where the entire human body and its illnesses, anatomy, everything about human body, physiology, etc. A little psychology also. All of that they study in MBBS. Then they come to MD, they specialize. They leave everything else and hold on to one thing, say cardiology, only heart. And then they further specialize. Sub-specialties will be there. Some people specialize only the electricity aspect of the heart, not anything else. And if you go to a cardiologist and have some skin problem, he will not even look at you. It is as if he doesn't know what is skin. Skin, I don't know what it is. Go. Heart, you tell. So subspecialty, specialty, subspecialty. This is very rampant, particularly in orthopedics. First his specialization is orthopedics, then he is further subspecial, ankle specialist. Podology or only foot he will take care. He doesn't touch ankle, only foot. And then kneecap specialists are there. Like the shoulder specialists. They only treat shoulder, nothing else. So somebody said they become, as this specialization, it goes further and further. So the person will be knowing a lot more and more about an area which is smaller and smaller. You got it? Now then they apply the limit theory of the mathematics. There is a limit. Till a point comes when he knows everything about nothing. That is the limit. Okay, so this is how the point I am trying to make is, after studying Vyakarana for 10 years, you remain with a sense of unhappiness that a lot more is to be studied and you have not studied. And when you come across somebody who knows, who has studied a little more Vyakaranam, you feel this much. You feel puny. You do not feel great. You feel puny. And sometimes you may become jealous also. Therefore, this phenomenon of constant dissatisfaction, endless dissatisfaction, applies to every branch of knowledge in this creation. That is how this creation is. Any branch of knowledge you take, even theology, Christian theology, you take Vatican, Christian theology. Theology is what? It is all a set of beliefs that have accumulated and become voluminous over a few centuries. That is what theology is, right? And so you have a belief, and based on that belief a ritual will be generated, and then that ritual leads to another belief, then that leads to another ritual. Like that, over a few centuries, the theology becomes voluminous. And a person who spent, you see, Bible is 100 pages book it is. But the theology that developed over those 100 pages material, it fills the libraries of the world. And still it is there. Still it is coming. Still it is coming. They say knowledge doubles every 5 years, something like that. It's a geometrical progression. Now libraries cannot hold the books anymore. Therefore you have to make electronic copies and hold. Now electronic copies also cannot hold anymore. Supercomputers are not enough to anymore. There is a supercomputer in the University of Pennsylvania which is earmarked only for protein structure. Because the proteins are too many of them. And their structure, primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, so complex it is. And they have earmarked one special supercomputer for protein structure. And therefore anybody, anywhere in the USA or elsewhere, they want some knowledge about the protein structure, they can refer to that computer. So like that, even supercomputers are not enough to hold this knowledge. Therefore, a theologian who spent 30, 40 years of his life in studying theology, he wonders, oh my God, what I know is less, a lot more is there to know. There is a thing called acquisitive spirit. People have it. Children acquire toys. Do you know all these children in America, of course they are a lot pampered also, not like Indian children. They have a big box to hold all their toys. The moment the Swami came home, the child wants to show all the toys to the Swami. And now the child pulls, because the box is heavy, pulls with the help of father or mother the entire box and turns it upside down. So many toys will fall out. So the child has a box to hold toys, big box. So that acquisitive spirit, go on acquiring, acquire. This becomes the second nature of the human being as the human being grows. So this continues. And so you acquire toys as children, and then you acquire money, and then you acquire pleasures. Pleasures means gadgets. One lady in Indonesia, very rich. She acquired 40,000 pairs of chappals. And there is another, it need not be lady only, it could be just some news, it could be men also. But I knew another lady who has acquired so many dresses and saris, etc., that there is no place left in the house to put one more dress. So that is that acquiring spirit. And the market encourages that. And do you know, there are some people who acquire books and go on filling rack after rack with books. And then this acquisitive spirit applies to various branches of knowledge. Suppose that's why suppose you are a grammarian, Vyakarana, you will be acquiring knowledge of Vyakarana. It will be going on and on and on and on and on. It will never end. Shankara noticed it. He said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Govindam Bhaja Modhamate. He is not Morkha, he is Modha. Morkha means he cannot know anything. He is a fool. Morkha is fool. A grammarian is not a fool. He is a highly knowledgeable person, you know. Therefore, he is not a Morkha, but he is a Modha. He is deluded. Because what is his delusion? A lot more to be acquired about grammar. And acquire it. And a lot more is there, lot more is there, lot more is there. And so now he is 90-year-old or 80-year-old. He will die soon, but still he is acquiring. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukre karane. When the death stares in your face, the grammar doesn't help you. Dukre karane is a very interesting example, because among all dhatus, dukre karane dhatu is tough. Because it is Ubhayapadi, it is there in Ātmanepadi as well as Parasmayapadi. And Panini has to make sutras exclusively for this dhatu, because it doesn't follow any known pattern. Very funny dhatu it is. Okay. Bhavati, bhavataha, bhavanti. How simple it is. Bhavati, ti, taha, anti. Come to Dukre Karane. Karoti, kurutaha, kurvanti. Very funny dhatu it is. So, if you have to master the prakriya, the way the dhatu, the words are derived, it takes months really. So that is taken as an example. By knowing all this Vyakaranam, when the chips are down, when the death stares in the face, all this knowledge that you have acquired is not going to help you. Grammar. In the place of grammar, you put theology, same. You put medicine, same. You put physics, chemistry, any knowledge you put, same. That's why sometimes if you read the biography of some of these great scientists, it looks as if at least some of them have died heartbroken. These Nobel laureates. Newton's biography doesn't present Newton as a happy person. And even Einstein in Princeton, he was very frustrated in his last days, because he was the head of that Center for Advanced Physics, and later he retired. There are some rules of retirement and all that, but he continued as emeritus. And another younger person, he became the head, and there was difference of opinion between him and the present head, and he wanted a research scholarship to be given to one of his research students, and the head of the department refused it. And then Einstein tells the student, I'm sorry, Appa, I'm helpless, I cannot help you. You have to go and do research with somebody else, not with me, because I don't have funds to give a scholarship or fellowship to you. He was very frustrated. A Nobel laureate, So we are not belittling anything. Knowledge has its own glory, and science is great, humanities are great. All this knowledge is very valuable for the human society. All that is great. But having acknowledged the greatness of knowledge, one point has to be made without hesitation. If you don't make that point, you will be doing injustice to the human being. That point is this acquisitive spirit which you have since childhood, acquiring toys, acquiring wealth, acquiring dresses, acquiring chappals and shoes, and acquiring pens. I came across a person who acquires ballpoint pens. And he sees one pen with me and asks me for it. I said, okay, take it. It doesn't matter. That acquiring spirit. Somebody acquires coins, somebody acquires stamps. For what? I don't know. Somebody acquires antique pots. And recently one great Italian ex-Prime Minister of Italy, Berlusconi, he died recently. And New York Times came up with a big article about him. He acquires paintings. Now his heirs have thousands of paintings, and they are struggling with all those paintings. They are trying to dispose them of. Because Berlusconi, he is a very rich man. And he went on acquiring painting. What painting is asked? Doesn't matter. If it is painting, he acquires it. This acquisitive spirit people have. And that applies to the mind also. I mean, that applies to the knowledge also. Go on acquiring knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge. And knowledge has no end. Maya is infinite. All knowledge is the manifestation of Maya. You know that? All knowledge, grammar ho, physics ho, whatever be it, it is all manifestation of that Aditi, Maya. Maya Shakti. And Maya is infinite. And therefore knowledge is infinite. The more you acquire, the more is there to be acquired. Not only that, when the acquisitive spirit applies to the knowledge, the person remains ever unhappy that he could not acquire enough of knowledge. Of course, the greedy person is ever unhappy that he could not acquire enough of money. It applies to knowledge also. That is what Shankara is pointing out. Samprapte sannihite kale. So this has to be appreciated. Now, what is the message that is coming? Message is, Vedanta is not acquisition of knowledge. It is just not acquisition of knowledge. You have to say this. If you don't say this, then you become a victim of what I used to call, even now I call it, syllabus maya. Because knowledge acquisition means syllabus. Fix a syllabus, acquire it. And then fix another syllabus, acquire it. Syllabus maya. You become a victim of syllabus maya. In the youth and middle age, you go on acquiring and acquiring and acquiring, because the body-mind is very agile and a lot of power is there in the body-mind. But as you become old, this acquisition becomes a huge burden and you don't know what else to do. Therefore, the students of Vedanta particularly should pay attention, because they have become victims of this syllabus maya. And they compare Vedanta with any other subject matter, like humanities. There are a number of humanities and Vedanta is one more. Or there are many science subjects and Vedanta is one more subject. Or in India, they go on doing this. Darshanam. Darshanam is the name given to a system of philosophy. And therefore, Nyaya, Vyakarana, Vaisheshika, Nayayika, Purvamimamsa, Uttaramimamsa, 6 darshanas. So 6 systems of philosophy. And they will be discussing about them all the time. And one person specializes in one system of philosophy. So this goes on and on and on and on. They are all in the maya of that syllabus maya. So some of these philosophies, they are not even updated. Like Vaisheshika is not updated. Vaisheshika talks about atoms. When you are talking about atoms, you have to update it. And astrology talks about planets. When you are talking about planets, you have to update it. They don't update. They were frozen in 2000 BC or 150 BC. They were frozen there. And that frozen subject matter, they spend a whole life in studying that. Grammar, it is frozen. You cannot change it. Panini's grammar is frozen. You cannot change it. You cannot add to it, you cannot update it. It is frozen. That's why one Mahatma said, grammar is the graveyard of the language. When it is frozen, then that becomes the graveyard. So people study, and Vedanta has become one such frozen syllabus. It is just frozen. Begin with Tattvavidananda and with Chatussutri. It depends upon the Guru. Guru knows only up to Chatussutri, therefore end with Chatussutri. That is the limit of Guru. Now Guru became busy with worldly things and other things, building ashrams, etc. Therefore he doesn't have time to study the 5th sutra. He ended with 4th sutras. He doesn't have time for the 5th sutra, and therefore all his shishyas are also same way. So frozen, it is frozen. Vedanta is not that. Therefore, then what is Vedanta? Vedanta is understanding of yourself. We can call it knowledge, okay, go ahead and call it knowledge. But this knowledge of oneself is not the same as the knowledge of any other branch of knowledge. Is unlike any other branch of knowledge. Because in every other branch of knowledge, without exception, the spirit of acquisition takes over, and the more you acquire, you have to acquire a little more, and therefore there is never a state of fulfillment. There is a thing called fulfillment, purnoham. I am fulfilled. I have known the physics, all that is there to be known in physics, I have known. Can anybody say that? Therefore, there is no sense of fulfillment. When there is no sense of fulfillment, then what you have now, that spirit of acquisition, it takes hold of you. That is not a good thing. Then second, a sense of non-fulfillment. I have not known all that is to be known. It remains in him, in his consciousness, as long as he lives. Second. Third, what he acquired, the knowledge, slowly it will be dropping off. He will be losing it. Forgetfulness will set in. And because brain is also like any other organ, it also declines. And therefore he remains in a constant fear of losing what all he acquired. He is no different from a rich man who is afraid of losing his riches. Maybe degree different, but not quality. There is a difference in degree. Means the rich man is more afraid than a knowledgeable person about losing whatever they have acquired. That's the point. There is a difference in degree, but not a qualitative difference. Means both the rich man as well as the knowledgeable man are afraid of losing whatever they have acquired. And then when the knowledgeable person meets another scholar who knows a little more than him, he becomes jealous. All these issues are there. That's why Shankara said, acquire knowledge by all means. It is great, it is valuable, it is precious and sacred also. But there is a thing called understanding oneself. That is not in the category of all this knowledge. It is a different kind of knowledge it is. That's why you better don't use the word knowledge itself. Shankara stopped using the word knowledge itself. He shifted to another nomenclature, avagati, he said. And Shruti uses the word jnanam, he translates it as avagatihi or jnaptihi. Therefore, here you are not, you can even take out the word knowledge and substitute it with something else so that the confusion will not be there. Because there is so much confusion in the world, therefore it is better to change the name so that they will start thinking. And the name given in Sanskrit, it is avagatihi. It is sometimes bodha. The name of the text is not Atma-jnanam. It is Ātmabodhaḥ. And also avagatihi is quite often used. And the primary, most important difference between the knowledge and understanding of the self is, in knowledge there is always accumulation. In understanding the self, there is no accumulation. You do not accumulate it. Okay? There is a fantastic difference between the two. Shall I give an example? 7 into 13, how much? Do you still remember? 1391. That is knowledge. That is accumulated by you in the childhood. And it is still, you are able to retain it still. God bless you. Because many people have forgotten. They need the calculators. If you go to Costco or Walmart, that lady, she does, if you ask her 7 into 13, how much, she will not entertain that kind of thing. Because she doesn't know. She will put 7 into 1391. And if it says 910, she will take 910 only. Therefore, so you still retain. God bless you. That is knowledge. Okay. When you put your finger in fire, it will burn. Is it knowledge or is it understanding? Is it accumulation or is it understanding? It is understanding. It is not accumulation. You are a human being. Is it accumulation? You have to recollect and tell that I am a human being. You have to recollect it. You have to bring it from memory and tell it. No. So, like that, enough of the examples. You already got the point. What you know about yourself is not accumulation. It is understanding. And therefore, it doesn't fit the category of knowledge, because knowledge is always accumulated in the brain cells. That is an important distinction between self-knowledge and the knowledge of the other kind. Still, you may use the word knowledge if you wish, but I am using understanding the self. And in the Shastra also they say realization, bodha, avagatihi, all such language they use. Even when they use jnanam, they explain it with such extra words. So this is one important difference. And then he is giving the message. This question, I have a feeling that the students of Vedanta did not pay adequate attention to this question which appears in Upanishads. This appears in Chandogya 6th chapter, where Tattvamasi comes. And this appears in Mundakopanishad also. The question is, such a question you don't see anywhere else. Only you see in Upanishad. Very unique question, very most unusual question. If a child asks this question to the father will admonish him and ask him, go and play, don't disturb me. Because father himself doesn't know. That kind of a question it is. And the question is, and I am sorry to say, quite often, the acharyas and the students, they just gloss over this question. They do not pay full attention. They think that the real thing will come later. Tattvamasi. This question is not important. They don't pay attention to the question. I tell you, in Vedanta, when you don't pay attention to the question, you lost the game already. The question is important. The question is the most powerful thing in the context of Vedanta. So the question is, kasmin vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. That is the question. You get it in Chandogya, where the Acharya raises this question, not the student. And you get it in Mundaka, where the student raises this question. The name of the student is Angiras. This Angiras Rishi name it is. He is a great scholar of Vedas and also Vedangas, Kalpa Jyotisham. Jyotisham is not astrology, astronomy. And then other branches of knowledge which help in understanding the Vedas. He is a scholar of all of that. Great scholar. And he goes to the Acharya and asks the question, dear sir, by knowing what? It is as good as knowing everything. Kasmin vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. That kind of a question he asks. He asks that question when? After spending more than half the life in acquiring knowledge. Then he asks this question. Not he never entered these gates of a school and then he asked this question. Not like that. So that means there is one thing by knowing which the desire to know more will not be there. Means what they call akanksha, expectancy. So you do not expect to know more. Means you are full. That there is the sense of fulfillment. What kind of sense? What all that needs to be known, I have known. That kind of a sense of fulfillment you get. When, that is the question. When that sense of fulfillment will come, that is the question. Then the Acharya says, no such thing exists, go and study. He doesn't say that. He entertains that question and encourages the student to probe that angle, that direction, and helps him to realize that by knowing oneself, your desire to know, it comes to an end. And you feel that you have known what all needs to be known in this creation. This feeling of fulfillment, you don't find it even in a double noble laureate. We are not belittling anybody or anything. This is a very unique thing. There is nothing like this. This is unlike anything else in the field of knowledge. And that is the glory of Atma. And Atma is infinite. And you understand yourself, then there is that sense of fulfillment. Now, I need not acquire, it doesn't matter whether I acquire further knowledge about other things or not. I am fulfilled. That sense of fulfillment will not come by acquiring and acquiring and acquiring knowledge. That is the beauty. Generally, people tell you that by acquiring money, more money, more money, more money, you will never get fulfillment. They tell that. Navittena tarpaniyo manushyaha. From Kathopanishad. Nachiketa tells Yama. Yama says, I will give you a lot of wealth. No, I am not going to be satisfied with wealth. Oh, so you don't want wealth. That is not what I mean. Nachiketa, that is not what I said. I said, A man can never be fulfilled by wealth. And I am very sure, having seen you, I will get adequate wealth. He says that. Lapsyama, drakshyama, the vittam. When I see you, why not I get wealth? I will certainly get wealth. Having seen you, having talked with you, should I ask for wealth? That's why these people who worship for the sake of wealth, they don't know anything. They are ignorant people. You should not worship Lord Vishnu for wealth. You should worship Vishnu for God, for knowledge. Wealth will follow. Wealth, where will it go? It will come. Once you have knowledge, wealth will come. So that's why you should worship Saraswati. Lakshmi will follow suit. But if you worship Lakshmi without worshipping Saraswati, you will be in serious trouble in life. Worshipping Lakshmi means pay lottery ticket, etc. That is the worship of Lakshmi. Anyway, that is all digression. So the point is, when you know yourself, you feel fulfilled. It is said a man can be satiated. You know satiation? It's an interesting verb, satiated. There is a synonym also, sated. Sated, S-A-T-E-D, sated. It means exactly same as satiated. So a man can be satiated in only two contexts. Completely satiated. One, when you give food, he will say enough. No, I have one more dosha. No. One more laddu. No, I am putting one more laddu. If you put, I will leave it. I will not take it. Because I am satiated. You give money and see whether he will be satiated. He will not be satiated with money, but with food he will be satiated. And with knowledge he will never be satiated. Only with understanding of the self one can be satiated. Svabodhe, nānyabodhecchā. When you know yourself, the desire to know something else comes to an end. That means there is no further acquisition of knowledge. That is not the point. The point is that insufficiency, that sense of inadequacy will not be there, which is universal in the context of every other branch of knowledge. The sense of inadequacy is universal. Whereas when you know yourself, you have a sense of fulfillment, not inadequacy. This is one thing that is very unique to understanding oneself. That is one point. That is one message. Okay? Svabodhe, nānyabodhecchā. Then I have one or two questions. I say natural things happen naturally. I say it quite often. Guna guneshu vartante, a statement in Gita, both are synonyms. Both correspond to each other. Very true. And here is another question, important question pending with me for some time. You see, suppose in the family life, it need not be family life. When we are living in, man is a social animal. Nobody lives in an isolated cave. He lives like that. That is not natural. That is very unnatural. There is a system in Europe somewhere, in some of the monasteries, Christian monasteries, there is a system which is very unnatural. The system is the nun dedicates her life to Jesus. So what she will do is, she goes into a room and she will not come out of that room in the lifetime anymore. And the room will be closed by a wall, cement wall. And there is only one small hole through which food is given. And she remains inside with her Bible, and chanting it or reading it, and then prayer, and with her rosary, and cross, and Jesus. She is married to Jesus now. She has nothing to do with the world. That kind of, and so she will be entombed, While living, the person is entombed, and the person remains inside. And she dies there. After 10 years, 50 years, 60 years, whenever she dies, she dies. That is a very unnatural thing, That is not the proper thing to do. So, nobody can live like that. That cannot be the goal. Even in religion, that cannot be a right goal. That is some kind of a religious fanaticism, or whatever it is. So, man is a social animal. Man lives in relation. Suppose you don't like a particular relation. So the man and wife, they are living in relation, but they don't like it. They move away. Do they move away from the relation itself? No. They move away from that particular relation and move to another relation. So human beings live in relation. You give up New York and go to Uttarakanshi, there you live in relation. Take to sannyasa, then you live in relation. In a different world of sadhus, a very peculiar world, you live in that world with the relation. So there is no life without relation. And the example which I gave, that is very unnatural. That is not the right way of doing it. So human being lives in relation. When you live in relation, means somebody around you may become sick. And not only sick, you can get medicine and give it. Some sickness is like that. There are some other sicknesses where the person is bedridden. Just giving medicine is not enough. So some of these neurological ailments are there, where the person becomes like a vegetable, doesn't know anything. And then like other diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, etc. Or the person may be cognitively all right, sound, but physically cannot move at all, bedridden. In such situations, so how a person should conduct oneself, himself or herself, that is the question. Okay. So this happens now and then, very sad, but it happens. And the disease cannot be cured also. It is not curable. You just maintain the person alive, keep the life going on. As long as the person is alive, you have to give service. And in that situation, when the person is giving service to this bedridden, unfortunate person, is it duty or attachment? That is the question. Okay. Now, I have a feeling that you ask such a question shows that you are already a little frustrated. That is how I feel. I say, I am very sorry. You should not be frustrated. You should buckle up. You should draw on the reserve energies within, acquire endurance. Endurance is a noble virtue, and you should strive hard to make life as easy and bearable as possible to the other person. You should extend all possible service. That is duty, not only just duty, it is a sacred duty, and it is karma yoga, it is worship of God. Nothing less than that. You should do that. Where is attachment in it? There is no attachment. In fact, it is the opposite of the attachment. What people do, they give up this person and go and have another relation somewhere else in another situation. So should not be done like that. So, and then what about karma phala? In this situation, you should only be devoted to karma, like in every other situation. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Your duty is to take care of that person as long as the person lives. And you do not expect any phalam. What phalam could be there? A person who has become a vegetable or struck by some of these incurable diseases, you don't get any phalam. In fact, you should not look for phalam. You should take things one day at a time. And so that day, the sun has come and therefore the day has started, the person is alive and requires assistance and you give it. And that day, when the night falls, night is the time to sleep, go on to sleep. One day is over. Next day begins. You have to do it. And as you go on doing it, one day the person is no more. You become free. That is how it works. And in this there is no phalam. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Don't even talk of phala and all that. And when the person is no more, don't be sentimental about it. And don't be sentimental about the person is struck with disease. Don't be sentimental about that also. Because if you become emotional, you will not be able to do service. Emotions, they drain all the energy. You will not be left with any inner energy, that spiritual energy. Physical will follow. You will not be left with it when you are emotional. You should not be emotional because emotions drain all the energy of the person. So don't be emotional, be loving. Don't be emotional, be loving. And be dutiful. Don't look for any result and all that, and do service. That is the duty. The question is a difficult question. I have converted into a general question and answered it. The question is more personal than what I have described. This kind of a thing in India, we do it. In India, we take care of the person. Here also they do that. They do it. Even more than in India, I suppose. But handing over to an organization is one thing. You stay with the person and you do it yourself is another thing. Both are equally good. I'm not trying to say one is superior and the other like that. The person should be given good service. That is important. Sometimes you may not be able to give good service. Some organization will be able to give good service. A hospice, you pay money, that is the service you can do. Don't be greedy about it. Put in a good hospice, pay money when you can afford it, and let the person live comfortably as far as possible, as long as the person lives. That duty has to be done. You need not be emotional about it. Just pay the bill, that is also equally good. But you should not abandon. How long will I do? That is wrong. Getting frustrated, wrong. What God is doing? When we have done so many pujas, why this happens like this? All this frustration. And what is the karma phala? That is another theological thing it is. And whether I will go to heaven or the person will go to heaven, don't bother about all those things. Just do the duty with love. That is all we can say. That is one question. And here is a person, a very sincere student. He listens to all the classes, but he comes out with questions that cannot be, I cannot make out anything out of those questions. And the person also, the gentleman also seems to have noticed it. He says, apology again, if words could not convey what I say very clearly. So, that is very true. Apology is not required, but that is very true. I could not make out really. So, is it, you listen to this, is it correct to say that mind is the original name and form? Bracket lo function. Mind is the form. Speech is the name. Okay? You have to be clear about these things. Don't mix up like that. The I thought, the apparent knower of the apparent duality. No, all that doesn't fit. So drop that I thought business. the apparent knower of the apparent duality, drop that also. Then it sounds somewhat meaningful. Whether mind is both name and form? No. Mind is not both name and form. Mind is form, speech is name. The rest of it. Moreover, the name and form are manifestation, construct of the nameless and formless, the substrate of the clay, substrate or the clay. In a way, you can say that. You see, in one context, you can say that. So the Bhagavan has manifested as this universe. You can say that. At a grade 1 level, you can say that. But as you move further up and up, that has to be modified. Bhagavan did not manifest. The Aditi has manifested. That is one more step. But then Aditi also doesn't exist separate from Bhagavan. So can you say rope has manifested as the snake? You cannot say that. How can you say that? Rope doesn't manifest as the snake. In fact, there is no snake. And therefore there is no manifestation. Like that, as you go one step after the other, the manifestation idea will be dropped off, and then you have to substitute the manifest or transform by apparition. And then you have to take out that also and go into ajatavada. There is no manifestation, no appearance, everything is unreal, only Brahman is real. Therefore, all this is play with words. So mind is not pervaded by me, but is me as forms and functions in the transactional reality, which includes the waking and dream state. I could not get any of it. Therefore, I leave it at that. So please make the question more precise. Then we will see. So svabodhe nānyabodhecchā. But before we proceed any further, we revisit the earlier verse and do word by word meaning. ātmāvabhāsayatyeko buddhyādīnīndriyāṇi Oh, api is there. That is your. I was wondering. Okay, api. Dīpo ghaṭādivatsvātmā jaḍaistairnāvabhāsyate. Padachedam. ātmāvabhāsayati ekah buddhyādīnīndriyāṇyapi dīpah ghaṭādivatsvātmā jaḍaistairnāvabhāsyate. Atma, the innermost self. Ekaha, the one without the second. Buddhyādīni, beginning with the intellect. Indriyāni api, all organs also. Avabhāsayati, illuminates. Like what? Dīpaha, the light. Ghaṭādivat, like pot, etc. Okay. Jaḍaihi, insentient. Taihi, by them. Meaning by intellect, etc. Svātmā, your innermost self. Sva is your. Na avabhāsyate, not illuminated. Like sun illuminates moon. Moon doesn't illuminate the sun. Okay, like that. So, Atma illuminates the intellect. Intellect doesn't illuminate the Atma. You have to understand, you carry a pen drive, that is memory. They call it memory stick. And your head is no different. It is the memory stick. And the pen drive, it has all the memory in it. To get that memory out of it, you need electricity. Similarly, this memory stick, it needs Atma. The memory stick doesn't illuminate the electricity. The intellect doesn't illuminate the Atma. It is the Atma which illuminates the intellect. This has to be told 100 times because the gurus of the world, they have given a big status to Atma, of this intellect. Sometimes they give bigger status to the intellect than the Atma. So Atma is illuminated by vritti. What vritti? Akhandakara vritti. It sounds like the wave. The wave makes the ocean great when the wave becomes a big wave, something like that. A wave is wave, small or big. So wave doesn't make anything to the ocean. Suppose wave has become infinite wavelength and zero amplitude, suppose the wave has become that. Now that wave, which has acquired infinite wavelength and zero amplitude, will illuminate ocean? It will not illuminate ocean. It becomes one with the ocean. That is how wave becomes one with the ocean. Therefore, akhandakara vritti, even that expression, so you call it vritti, and at the same time you call it akhanda. It is like saying wave with infinite wavelength. Then why do you call it wave in the first place? So that language is there. You have to carefully handle that language. What I have noticed is that language has become common with some of these traditionalists who are frozen in the Vedanta that is spun or created in post-Shankara literature, not Shankara. There is a thing called post-Shankara literature. Following Shankara, many commentaries and other expositions have come. In that, this vritti and akhandakara vritti, khandita vritti, etc., that became, vritti is mind modification. Ultimately, they present Atma as illuminated by a particular very special kind of mind modification. Why should you do that? And then you can see that moment when the intellect is given superiority in getting self-knowledge. In a physics class, the professor is superior and the students are secondary because the intellect of the professor is superior. Right? And therefore, take the same model. And so, in a Vedanta class, the guru is superior. Why he is superior? Because he is a better Atma, he is superior. No, he is the same Atma as the student Tattvamasi. But then why guru is superior? Because his intellect is superior. Hopefully. In some cases, you cannot even guarantee that. So the intellect is superior. Because the intellect is superior, so all others are Shishyas and he is the guru. So you have given importance to the intellect. And once you create a system where intellect is given some place in illuminating Atma, that goes against the vision of Shankara, that is post-Shankara literature. And that has become important for a variety of reasons. I look at it that way. Why it has become important? I am not judging or anything, I am trying to understand. Because when intellect is important, not only guru is important, but also the scripture is important. And these people in that orthodoxy, they are wedded to the scripture, not to Atma. Not Atma. They are wedded to the scripture. And that's why Shravanam is enough. You don't need Manana Nididhyasana. Because in Nididhyasana, scripture and guru both are dropped. In Manana, guru is dropped. You cannot drop them. You have to keep them. There is only one way of keeping them. That is Shravana. So that way what happens, the student of Atma, the student of self-knowledge forever remains inferior to the scripture, inferior to the system created by the Guru, subservient to the system, and he is never encouraged to think for himself, to look closely in himself, and to understand in himself, by himself. These things are not encouraged at all. These things are not even talked about. That is how a wrong trend enters into the system. Therefore, we have to highlight all the time, brain is like, intellect is like memory stick, nothing more than that. And all these consciousness studies, etc., that are going on in the universe, in the world of science, they are all great, but they are studying the memory stick only. A memory stick can become bigger and bigger and bigger. When I started the first desktop computer, do you know 3 1/4 inch, and I knew even bigger than that. Then 3 1/4 inch came. I was ecstatic. My God, these bigger things, now a small thing came. Then 3 1/4 inch is gone and a CD came. I was very unhappy because I liked these 3 1/4 inch things. But then it is gone. So you are dealing with memory sticks only, nothing more than that. And Atma is like the electricity. Without electricity in the cell phone, just you put that thing, what they call it? That small thing. Huh? SIM. SIM is some acronym. What is that acronym? I don't know. SIM it is. It is not an English word, SIM. People don't know any acronyms also because they became so popular. Anyway, SIM. So you put the SIM and so you will get all the data. SIM will give all the, SIM will give all right, but there must be electricity, battery must be there. Battery is the life. So your Atma is like that. We will see tomorrow. Om Purnamidam